This is Deb with Four Seasons Crafts. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and thank you for stopping by to take a look at this channel, and hopefully you will get some great inspiration from this video. So we are going to dive right in. What we're going to actually be going over is some alternatives to the August 2022 paper pumpkin kit. So I just want to show you some other cards that you can make with some of the supplies that you maybe received in your kit, as well as just a few other things. So we'll go over that in just a minute. If you are, for some reason, maybe you didn't get the August paper pumpkin kit, there is another stamp set that I'm going to share with you that I think you will find can give you some of those images that maybe you missed, and hopefully you'll come up with some other great card ideas. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me move us to the other camera here. Okay, you're probably going to notice just a little change in volume. Haven't quite gotten that down yet, but let's go ahead and start. So these are the cards that you can make just with the instructions alone in the paper pumpkin kit. So you get 3 cards, 3 designs each, and then you get these beautiful envelopes. And I'm going to show you one of those because they are so unique. I hope you can see just the beautiful colors. We are actually going to use an envelope to make one of our cards. So that's going to be kind of some fun and exciting stuff we're doing. The other thing that came in this particular paper pumpkin kit was you received, I think it was 8, it might have been 9 of these gold foil, kind of a honeycomb patch, but that was something additional that you received in your kit. So we are going to use some of those as well. All right, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and move this off to the side. And our first card that we are going to make, we are actually going to use the tissue paper. So when you get your paper pumpkin kit, it kind of comes like this, and it's in a secret tissue paper for those of you who don't receive paper pumpkin. So it's kind of a nice little surprise. Well, we are going to use one of these pieces of tissue paper to make one of our cards. So I'm going to go ahead and cut one of these out. So here is our piece of our yellow tissue paper. We're going to set that off to the side, and we are going to cut our card base. So take, we have our card base. We are going to go ahead and score this. So this is cut at 11 by 5.5, and we are going to score it at 4 1/4. So just your basic fold is what we're going to use for this particular card. Now we're going to take our white, and we are going to cut this at actually 5 3/8 is going to be our first cut, and then we're going to cut it at 4 1/8 because we're going to do a little bit of layering of white, and we'll want to make sure we don't mix these up. And then this one here, we're going to cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. All right. So 4 inches by 5 1/4. Okay. So this is the one we're going to use. I'm going to set those off to the side. So we are going to take our piece of tissue paper. And let me just show you the stamps that come with this particular kit. I'll lay them here on the yellow so you can actually see. So this is the sunflower. This is the one that's right here. You have kind of a place for the inside of the sunflower, some leaves, a few little sprigs, a couple little bumblebees, for a one-of-a-kind friend. Thank you, and wishing you so much happiness. So just some beautiful stamps that I think you're going to be able to use over and over again. One of the other, and this is what I wanted to say, if for some reason you did not get this particular paper pumpkin, you might want to consider, if you really like what you've been seeing online, you might want to get this Celebrate Sunflowers. It comes with some leaves and again, a couple sunflowers. They're a little larger. And then you have some sentiments. And then if you also want, you can also get some dies. They have some sprigs in there as well. A center for your sunflower. So again, just something to kind of keep in the back of your mind if for some reason you were not able to get a paper pumpkin. All right, so let's go ahead and start. So here is our tissue paper. The two colors that come in the kit, you get two Stampin' Up! Spots, and they are crushed curry and soft suede. I'm actually using just the regular ink pads so I can actually save the spots and give those away, which is, it's kind of a fun thing to do. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and open both of these up, and we are going to do some stamping right on our tissue paper. So right on our tissue paper, we're gonna go ahead and take our sunflower here, and let me, before I go any further, I should have had a piece of grid paper under here. We'll get some grid paper under there. This could get just sometimes a little messy. Okay, so here we go. So we're gonna go ahead and take our crushed curry and ink up our sunflower, and we're just gonna stamp this in couple places. Now, when you stamp on tissue paper, the nice thing about Stampin' Up! Ink is it dries right away, but we're just gonna kind of stamp it down and then lift it straight up, okay? And we're gonna do a couple more of these, and I'm gonna move this up a little more. We'll do another one right about here. And one more, maybe over here. And then let's clean our stamp, and we're gonna do one more in that little centerpiece there in soft suede. So get our stamp a good cleaning, and now we'll just tap this over here and pop it right down here in the middle. Okay, we'll set that one off to the side. Let's go ahead and clean it so that we have it for next time. You know, it's funny, right? My husband is so good about trying to teach our kids, you know, do it now, do it right away. I think I'm the worst one. I think I'm the worst culprit of not doing it right away. So this is a good practice for me. All right, so right now, this is what we have. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that center stamp and we're gonna put it in our soft suede, and we're just gonna put this right in the middle of each one of our sunflowers. Now, this does not have to be perfect. And let me see. And then we're going to do the same one in the middle here. So I can get a little better. Okay, there we go. All right, now what we're going to do is we are going to take our tissue paper and we are going to, just going to move it a little bit here. Now we're going to crinkle it all up. I know, right? It's a little scary. You want to make sure you don't have any ink on your hands when you do this, but you'll want to just crinkle it all up. We're going to get our ink out of the way just so we don't accidentally. And now we're going to open it up. This is going to give us kind of a weathered look here. All right. Now we're going to take our piece of cardstock. Remember, this is the 4 inches by 5 1/4. And we are going to take some liquid glue. Now, if you have, you know, a glue stick or anything like that, anything will work. Okay. So don't be too concerned about, but you do want to put this on, some, you know, generously, for lack of a better word, but not, you know, too much. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take, this is just one of our little sponges, and it's just a piece of it, and it's attached to a paper clip, and we're going to use this now to rub this glue, and we're just going to kind of go across and down and actually get that glue all over the back of our card. Okay. And specifically, you're going to want it on the edges because you want that to stick. You want the tissue paper that we just stamped on to stick. All right, so there we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our tissue paper and we are just going to lay it down. You do not need to stretch it out, but you do need to consider what you want to appear where. So I kind of want that big sunflower to be in the middle. So I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to pat it down. Again, it does not need, you don't want to get out like all the little wrinkles. So you don't want to stretch your tissue paper. You just want to, and you want to be careful too. You don't want to rip it, right? So as you go over it, you're just going to tap it. And look what we have here. You guys see that texture on there? And all we did was, right, we used some tissue paper and then our nice stamps. So now we're going to do, you could do one of two things, first of all. You could fold this over. We're actually just going to cut along the edges, okay? Now, if you want to check your work surface just to make sure you don't have any adhesive on there, so when you put other things down, it doesn't accidentally stick. All right, so now we're just going to take our a pair of scissors. I do find a longer nosed pair of scissors works a little better than your snips, but whatever works for you. And we're just going to cut along that edge. Use the edge of your paper as a guide. And go. And so many of you guys who watch me frequently, I am not a fussy cutter. I don't mind cutting paper, but you know, not always the best at fussy cutting or anything like that. So there we go. All right, now I noticed I have like a little edge up here, so I'm just gonna take a little more glue here and see if I can maybe get that edge down. There we go. And because I just did that, I am now, by the way, if you have these scraps, you can save them, okay? Because we're gonna use them for the next card. If you don't have any scraps, that's okay. You'll just cut a new piece of tissue paper. But we're gonna go ahead and set that off to the side. Okay, I'm gonna flip this over. I think I've got some other writing on here, but that's okay. I was experimenting with last month's paper pumpkin kit and using some of the items for some stenciling there. Okay, so here we go. We have this. Now we have our piece of white that we cut, basic white, that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, so here's our stamped image.
on our tissue paper. And then we have this piece that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So now what we're going to do is we are going to want to take this card and we are going to use a couple different pieces here that came with the kit. So remember how I told you we had these stencils here? Well, what I did is I actually cut out a piece of the honeycomb, and that is what we are going to do here. So we're going to take our snips here, and we are going to cut out a little piece of this honeycomb. All right. And all you're going to do is, we don't want these little kind of ends hanging off, right? We're going to want to cut them so we have, and you know, you don't have to have the full, you know, kind of the full honeycombs here, but we're just going to cut down and around and see what we get here. But this is a great way to get just a ton of use right out of one of these elements. Now your kit comes with some of these that are vellum, which are very pretty. So again, you can use those if you would like. I thought the gold looked really nice with this particular card. All right, we're just going to take it around now, and I think this is going to give us a little bit of depth and enough of a piece that we can use it here. All right. And again, you know, sometimes when you do things like this, it's like every card is different, right? Okay, so there we go. So we've already gotten one card out of this. Now we're going to have another. Now you guys can see I have all these little sprockets kind of sticking off here. I am going to just trim these down real quickly. Some of them might not even be visible, but we'll just take them off just to be on the safe side here. Okay. And again, no one would probably even notice them, right? But okay, get those little pieces off. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we want to take this piece here and we just want to set it over our main image. Okay, so this is going to kind of be, and let's maybe do this. Let me see here. Yeah, I think we'll do it this way so we can get that different color there. So we're just going to take this and I'm going to get a couple glue dots, and I want to be strategic because I want to make sure that it's where I'm going to have something else covered. So right here in the middle, I think is where I'm going to have my sentiment. So I'm just going to take this and get it on the edge. Oops, make sure I do that again here. Oops, let's get it in the right spot. Put it off and we'll put it right there. There we go. So see that nice little shimmer it gives our card? All right, now we're going to take one of the items that you received in your kit was a card base that looked like this. So it was the front and the back of a card. So what I did was I just cut it right down the middle, because I can take this piece and mount it up on a piece of cardstock and get this card. Okay. But I really wanted to kind of use some of these other pieces. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to cut this in at a diagonal right here in the middle. And we are going to put half of it, oops, like across here. Okay. But before we do that, we have one more thing that we're going to lay down on our card. And that is, on this piece here, I actually took one of the ends and just cut that off. So the small border, I took it and cut it off. And we're actually going to use this to go across the card this way. And that's going to give us somewhat of a little border. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of adhesive on here. And just put this. You want to be careful. You don't want too much. And then we're going to find kind of our sticky spot there where we put our glue dot. And we're just going to kind of run that right across our card. But you guys can see when you work with these kits, it's like you don't want to kind of get rid of anything, right? You want to keep it all. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece, part of this green piece, and we're going to put it right here. And then one of the items also in our kit were some labels. So let me get out our labels that we have. And it's funny, I had all of this nicely laid out for us to easily get to, and then, you know, you kind of start to move things around and everything gets just a little shifted, but that's okay. Let's see. Here they are. They're right here in front of me. So we're going to take one of these labels here and use this. This is what I used for the last one. So we'll use this one as well for this card. And we are going to stamp for one-of-a-kind friend. So we have that right here, and we are going to stamp it in some soft suede. So we're going to take this piece here. Oops. Get that off to the side. And we'll just get our ink out and make sure our stamp is not upside down. All right, and we're going to want to line this up. And there we go. And we're just going to stamp right over. And there we go. And hopefully we got it straight. There we go. I think that's going to work, guys. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, before I glue these two things down, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over, and we are going to adhere this to our piece of white layer. Now you could use any one of the many, many colors for this particular layer. So if you wanted to pull out some soft suede, you could put that on. I kind of like, for this one, I just liked the white on white. But again, keep in mind you guys could choose any color. So this is going to give us a nice layer of white there. And now we're going to take our white card base here, and we're going to put this on top of here to create that other top layer. And again, if you wanted, you could pop this up on dimensionals. For this one, I'm just going to go ahead and glue it down because we're going to put our greeting up on some dimensionals here. Okay, so we'll take this, and this is a piece of thick white cardstock that we're actually layering this onto. And we'll just make sure our border is the same all the way around. And there you have it. All right, now let's go ahead and start to layer this up along with our... So I'm going to go ahead and actually put this up on dimensionals. And I think I'm going to use some of these edges here so I can get a few that are just maybe a little bit thinner. Probably overdoing it here on the dimensionals, but you know, it's always nice to have better safe than sorry, right? Okay, so here we go. We're gonna put this right here again, right across that kind of bar of gold that we created, and then we're gonna take this one and put it right here. All right, so we'll just glue this one down. So we'll actually put our adhesive right here and then pop this down straight away. Just make sure it is lined up and straight on there. And there we have it. What do you guys think? I really, really like it. Let me show you the first one I created. Here you go. So this one you can see has the ribbon here. And then this one has the gold bar. So again, two totally different looks. All right, that is our first card. And again, it's all just basic white cardstock and the tissue paper that comes in the box. So that is card number 1. All right, our second card, we are going to use some basic white cardstock. So we are going to go ahead again, basic white. So we're going to go ahead and cut another piece of our basic white. And for this one, we are going to cut it at 4 inches by 5 1/4. And this is going to be the actual card that we're going to stamp on. A couple things we're going to use from this one is a piece of the other half of the green piece. We're also going to be using this element, and then remember that little scrap of tissue paper that you may have had that you cut out? We're going to be using that as well. Okay. So and then we have a couple little bees that we're going to accent with. So for this particular card, what we're going to want to do is we are going to be using one of the blending brushes. These are absolutely wonderful. I have labeled mine with just a little piece of paper. So I kind of did the Roy G. Biv for the colors. And then I think I have one for brown too. But what we're going to do, because we only have so many sheets of this, we are going to use this as a small template. So we are going to lay it down on our cards, on our piece of basic white. And we are actually going to blend right here to create an image of a honeycomb. So we're going to just tap right in to our crushed curry and just put a little bit there. Now, one thing when you do this, you'll want to make sure that you don't go outside the lines. But do you see what you get? Isn't that pretty? So we're just creating our own background. Now we're going to turn it over the other direction. So we're kind of going at an angle. And now we're going to lay it back down. And we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to tap, tap, tap. And then I'm just going to get that initial spot. You don't really have to. You know, it might allow for a little bit of dimension there. But again, just remember, watch your edges there. And there you have it. Now, one of the things I just wanted to show you guys too, do you see, you can totally use this side, the gold side. So how cool is that? So you haven't ruined it. You've just been able to use the other side as a template. So you might even want to just keep one of these, totally one of these, and keep it as a template for something in the future too. All right, so there we go. We are done with that piece. Now what we're going to do is we are going to take that same crushed curry, and now we're going to take our sunflower here, and we are going to stamp this right in the middle. All right, so we are going to stamp this, ink it up good, and then we are going to stamp it right in the middle. And there you have it. You know, one of the things too, and when I first did this, I'm like, it doesn't even look like crushed curry anymore. But isn't it amazing the different shades that you can get out of one ink pad, for sure. Okay, now we're going to take our soft suede, and we're going to take the center of our element here, and we are going to put this in the middle. I'm going to move this just a little bit, try to get a little bit over, so maybe I can do a little better job of lining it up. All right, well, it's close enough. All right, there we go. All right, now we're going to use one more, and I'm going to stick with this same sentiment, and then actually, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm going to make it a thank you. So I'm going a little off the beaten path here. All right, so let me get this. This is a little bit different than what I had planned on doing, but that's all right. I think we can do this. So instead, we're going to put thank you. And I'm just going to stamp off just to make sure, yep, that I'm getting a good stamped image. And then we are going to put thank you right down here. Right, there we go. All right. You guys think? Pretty cool so far. All right, now what we're going to do is we are going to take our piece of tissue paper that we had, okay? And again, you guys can see this piece looks a little bit, so I'm going to see if I can find one that's straight. If you need to, this is what I would suggest you do. So we're going to do this together. So I'm going to fold it in half, my piece of tissue paper. And then I am going to fold it one more time. So I want to keep it so it's straight. So I'm going to line these edges kind of up together there. And then that way I can take my scissors, kind of hold this down, and then kind of cut straight across on both sides. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. So we're not looking for perfection, but you might just want to get at least just a little bit straighter. Because remember, now that we have it, I'm gonna roll it up again here. Okay. And again, to add a little texture to the card. And you can see I even have a little bit of a stamped image on there. Can you guys see that? And that's totally fine. So I'm going to open this up. And then I'm going to create a layer of adhesive. Okay, so this I'm going to put right across here. All right, and then we're going to put a little piece of green. Now you guys could skip this step if you like, I'm not sure I want to do that. That's okay too. So I'm just going to take this and do it a little bit across actually. And then I'm going to take my piece of tissue paper and I'm just going to lay it right over top of that glue. And there we go. So again, doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't even have to line up perfect. It's giving you some free texture on your card. Okay, and then we're just gonna trim that right off and go to the other side and trim this right off. And now we can take this little piece of of green here. And we're going to put that on there. But before we do, we are going to take another piece of this and kind of put it under there, okay? Just to give it a little bit of shimmer and shine. So again, just cutting out a little bit more. A little bit more of this little weave here. No rhyme or reason on how to do this, by the way. All right. And again, we'll just pop those last little elements off, little corners off the side. You know, if you cut this right and you had those little ends like that, you could make it into like a little spider web. All right, there we go. So we're just gonna take this and add some glue dots here, kind of right over this area. Oops, probably not the way to put that on there, huh? And then we'll just kind of stick that right there. We'll add a couple little dimensionals here, make sure, and that will be that. Oops. Okay. And we'll go just a little bit further in there. All right. And then last but not least, we are going to put in just a little bow with our early espresso ribbon. And again, you could do without the ribbon. You don't have to do it. You don't have to put it in there. This is just, again, it could be any ribbon too that you might have in your stash. So always remember that too. There we go. And we'll just kind of put that right there. All right, now we're going to take our card base. So we are going to use, for this one, well, you know, actually, we're not going to use that one. We will use some crushed curry for this particular one. So we're going to go ahead. Let's move our ink out of the way. And we will cut this card base. And we'll go ahead and cut it at, again, 5 1/2. Score it at 4 1/4. And we'll take that off and then we'll glue this down. Right, and we will be done with card number 2. There we go. So just let's go ahead and get our ribbon on there. Put a little glue dot on the back of that. And kind of set that off at an angle. There we go. Right. And there you got it. So I'm going to show you guys, I didn't finish the last one, but this is what I started with. So again, just a little bit of a different greeting. Isn't that pretty? I love it. It was very simple, I thought, very clean. All right, so we have one more card that we are going to do. And this one, we are going to use Blackberry Bliss, because this is one of the colors that's in the card. And we are going to use some of this green. Now this is the same card piece that gave us these pieces here on our last 2 cards. See this right here? It was just a strip. So we're getting it, and it's the back. So it's, you know, we still have the whole front. We can make the card just like it appears in the instructions. We just have to mount it on some different paper. All right, so now we're going to take one of our beautiful envelopes, and we are actually going to take the lid off here. So this is exciting. We're going to we're doing this one a little bit together. So I have an idea. I'll see if I can formulate it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and lay this down, and we're just going to put that crease right in where the blade runs, okay? And then we're going to take the lip, and that's what we're going to use to do this portion here. All right, so this is 2 1/8. So we're going to see if we can get about 1 7/8, okay? Is what we want to do. And before we do that, let's go ahead and find the least at the top of our piece, okay? And then we can take this over to 1 7/8. And oops, might have to go over a little bit more. It looks like about maybe 1 point. I want to go quite to 1.75. Okay, so we're just going to cut that off, and then I'm going to see how far we can go over. Maybe not too far. So we'll see what this gives us. So basically, all we did was we kind of took off all the edges there to get this nice strip here. And we are going to layer it right on that portion of our card. Okay? And now we're going to take this piece here, and we are going to cut along, well, actually, let's just go ahead and do this. So we're going to want a piece that is about 4 inches, okay? But we are going to go to 4 about 4 1/4, okay? And we're just going to take this little piece, and then we're going to go over here and line it up to 4 inches, or let's do 4 1/8, actually. Nope. Let's do 4 inches, and we're going to cut this side off, all right? And then, of course, we're going to need it to be like 5 1/4. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to 5 1/2, and we're going to trim off this little bit. And then we're going to turn it over and go to 5 3/8 and trim off that little bit. And that is going to give us So this is the back of our envelope, and then this is the front, which we are going to be able to just slide right in here to put in the back of our, put in the side of our card here. Okay. And then this will be, oops, our other piece right here. Now here's where it might get a little tricky, because you guys can see that it doesn't quite line up here. So this piece is a little over 5 inches, but I need it to be like 5 3/8. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna take a piece of white and we're gonna cut it so that it's gonna be lining up, so we have this piece that's 5 3/8. Okay. So this right here, width-wise, is about a little over 1.75, right? Remember, we kind of went a little past 1.75. So we'll see if that kind of does it for us. And then we're going to go to 5 3/8, and let's see if that will give us a piece where the white, which is perfect, because we just want the white to peek out of the top and the bottom. Do you guys see that? So that's what we're gonna get. And that way, when this is in, it's gonna line up with those pieces that are white. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're gonna adhere this down. These envelopes are absolutely beautiful, aren't they? They really are absolutely gorgeous. And what a great way to get some additional cards, huh? Okay, then we're just gonna go ahead and adhere that right here to our card. All right, there we go. And now we're going to take this piece here and adhere it basically the same way. Okay, we're just going to take it right to the edge there so we can see as much of it as possible. And again, anytime you glue it down, you want to check the front and check the top and the bottom. You lay it down. All right, and there we have it. Okay, now we're going to take this piece here and we are going to cut this out 3 inches by 3 inches. So we're going to get ourselves a nice little square. And again, we'll want to keep all of these scraps because all of them we can use for a variety of things, right? And then we're going to get a piece of white that is 2 7/8 by, not 2 7/8. I don't have quite enough there, do I? Make sure. So what we'll do is we'll see what we have here. We have 2.75 by 2.75, roughly, right? So this will work. We'll just double check and make sure we don't look too goofy for now. Sometimes you just have to go with it. There we go. That looks good. It's a little bit bigger at the bottom, but you know what? We'll just trim off just a teeny bit off the bottom. But what I would do is, just to save time here, but I would go ahead, oops, lost my paper. I would do the 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, because what you want is a small white border around your piece of cardstock there. There we go. All right, so now we are going to stamp on this piece of white here, okay? And we are going to use some soft suede, some Blackberry Bliss, and we are going to put one of our sunflowers. I get rid of the white there, and now I'm going to need it. So here we go. It's back again. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our Blackberry Bliss here, and let me just make sure that I don't know if all of a sudden, there we go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and ink that up really well and just kind of put that off to the side there. There we go. And then we'll take let's go ahead and clean this off. And now we're going to go ahead and put our greeting right up here in the corner. Okay. And then for the inside, we are going to use some of our yellow here. I'm going to test this out first to see if I like it. I don't think that looks always interesting, right? We'll go ahead and try that. Okay, there we go. And then we haven't used any of our, yeah, I think we'll just leave it there. So now we're going to take this and we are going to adhere it to our piece of green here. And we'll just adhere that right here. All right. And let's see if we want to put any of our gold on here. I don't know, guys. I think we might just take a little piece of this and maybe have it stick out a little bit. What do you think? We'll just kind of cut this one a little bit more crazy and see if it can give us just maybe a little bit of pretty gold around the corner here. All right, there we go. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna actually kind of cut a little bit of a slit here. And we'll do something that's kind of like that. What do you think? Okay, because this is gonna get popped up, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use some of our Stamp and Seal. And we're just gonna take a little bit of this There we go. And just kind of layer it right there. And then we will put this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it and put it right here. Okay, so I'm going to take, I have some glue in just one of these little mini bottles. You can get these on Amazon. And I'm going to just put a few dots here just to get this to stick, because we don't want that to, you know, pop up. All right, and while we're right here, we're going to go ahead and put this right down like that, and then we're going to put on a few little. Now I'm going to go ahead, I was debating on putting that up on dimensionals, but I think we will just put it on with glue. And again, you're going to want to make sure you stay only on the one side, because we don't want that gluing itself, right? There we go. And then what we'll want to do is we will want to trim this off just a bit here, because we don't want that kind of peeking through right the back. So we'll just pop that one off there. There you have it. And just cut that one off there. Okay. There you go. And now we have some of the little bees that you get. And we are going to put those up on some mini dimensionals if I have them here. And I think I don't have any in front of me, so that's okay. We'll go ahead and we'll put these on just with very small little strips here. And we will attach those. And look at that. And we'll just fill in some of these little spots here with a couple of those little bees. We find another one, and this is what you get. You get a whole sheet of all these little bees and some sunflowers, so lots of fun items in this kit, guys. I'm going to move some of these ink pads and stuff out of here. All right, so let me get this one on, and then we will see where we are. Okay, here we go. All right, and then we just have one more thing we need to do in this card, and that is, because when you open it, right, we're going to go ahead and put a strip of white here for a message, but then also we have this little spot right here, okay, that if we wanted to, we could stamp something else in this particular piece, because it would be covered up. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and put a strip of white, and then that will be that. So let me get us another piece of white cardstock here, and we are going to go ahead and trim this up. And this again is about 2 1/8 of an inch, so we're just going to go about 1, and we'll go, I think we can fit 2 inches in there. So we'll go 2 inches by 5 3/8. Okay, that'll put us up to the edge. And then, because we can, one of the things, so this is just not so stark white, is I think what we'll do is we're going to take the Blackberry Bliss here, and I'm going to take the ink pad and just run it along this edge here. Okay. And see what we get. Again, it kind of looks a little deckled, I guess. We could get it to be even a little more if we wanted to. You just got to be careful that you don't smear or get maybe ink on something that you don't want to get ink on. I've got to say my Blackberry Bliss is a little, sometimes it gets a little funny. All right, so we'll just put a little bit of adhesive here, and I'm gonna pick that up, and we will lay it right here on our card. And there we go. All right. You guys can see, I don't know exactly why I'm getting some of those marks, but for some reason I am. All right. So there you have it. So these are our 3 cards. We have this one here. Make sure I don't have anything on my fingers. We have this one, oops. And then we had these 2 here. The one we made, and then this one here. So I hope you guys enjoyed these alternatives to this particular paper pumpkin. I absolutely love this kit. You could take some of these bees and pop them on all of those as well, and that would be super cute. So I'm going to switch us back here, and
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. If you would like to place an order, you can use the host code above to place that order. I would so appreciate it. Or if you would like, you can please just leave a thumbs up, any comments you might have. But thanks much. Thanks for joining, and have a great day. Bye.